Now, lots of people in the right-wing media were not happy with that first day of the Trump trial, although their feelings are probably buttressed by the fact that they know that none of it matters. Here is Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham expressing their frustrations last night.
Lawyer on the first lawyer who presented the case.
A little meandering, a little free associative. Let's just say, go ahead.
It was terrible. I'm sorry.
Extemporaneous.
You're way too charitable. If you hired that guy in the case that you were paying the bills on, it would have been like, I'm sure you're a nice person, but enough praise toward the Democrats.
I was a little nervous in the beginning.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
How much time could he spend praising the Democrats? The whole thing was like a walk down memory lane about how much he loves the Senate, and I mean, this was like story time at the trial. It was ridiculous. So sorry, I'm going to get into this, but I'm pretty worked up about it, given what's at stake for the Constitution of the country.
Anyway,
Constitution in the country.
I care about it so much.
Yeah, the Constitution's at risk over this. Yeah, it's about to crumble.
So look, I guess this is better than them pretending that it was great. I mean, usually they just say what they want to be true because that's what their audience wants to hear. For some reason, right-wing media seems to have agreed. And again, I think it's because they know that it doesn't matter. They've agreed that they can criticize this. But I do think like it's an opportunity though to potentially learn something. Why is it that this is the best defense that Donald Trump is able to put together? Either from the point of view of why is it that this is the only lawyer he can get to defend him? What led to that situation? And why is this the rhetorical best defense that he has? Why does it rest on such shaky ground? Like both of those, whether the sort of institutional or employment angle or the rhetorical angle, they could actually delve into that and try to figure out why Trump has ended up in this very low state. But they're not doing that. They're keeping it 100% shallow and 100% focused on the lawyer. His performance was bad. It has nothing to do with Trump. And so even in the moment, this is the closest either of them have come to criticizing the president in literally years. And even then, it's still miles away from actually coming to grips with what Trump is.
Yeah, it was way too far for them to even give any props to these attorneys because they couldn't wait. I'm sure every conservative in the country that's supporting Trump was trying to make sure that they said, okay, we had to prepare ourselves to say this is a great argument, but it was so far from that. They couldn't even come up with that. And they've done some reaching before with some ridiculous arguments, calling them great arguments every time Trump speaks. Let's keep it real. But the main objective here, as you talked about, Jim Jordan was lining up to lick the boots. But the main objective here is to make sure you do not blame the guy who is to blame in any way. Don't blame him for the insurrection. Definitely don't blame him for this lack of a defense because there is none. You can't do that because Trump might get mad at you and he'll go to a 9 out of 10 if he screams at you now because you know he's watching you, Sean. You know he's watching you, Laura, because that's all he does. So we got to make sure we uphold our loyalty to the president, make sure he doesn't get upset at us.
Yeah, and look, honestly, in this situation, it really works out for them, especially if they know that Trump is watching. They're mocking the same guy that Trump is mocking behind the scenes and is enraged at. Trump hates that lawyer. They're mocking that lawyer. So it's like, it's almost like it's criticism, but it's criticism that Trump himself is gonna love, so. But anyway, the other lawyer, David Schoen, actually was on Sean Hannity's program. And there was a very interesting bit of his talk. Take a look at this.
They're using rhetoric that's just as inflammatory or more so. The problem is they don't really have followers, they're dedicated followers. And so, when they give their speeches, but this speech, I think right now you really are finding out about the pre-planning. And I'm afraid they're going to back off that investigation because maybe, so many people want to tie it to Donald Trump. There's nothing they showed today that in any way ties us to Donald Trump. It's just a silly argument. It's not tied to Donald Trump or his speech whatsoever. So what they're doing now a bit is going back, well, you see, it's not just that speech. He's been, inciting people, inflaming people. No, he's been rousing the American public to drain the swamp, whatever they call it on his side, to make a difference in this country. That's what political speech is.
That's the good lawyer, by the way. That's the one they like, JR. What do you think?
Oh my God. Okay, so
he's also not a cat.
As you brought up, they were, as he was bringing up at the beginning of that. Oh, these Democrats, they incite their people to violence all the time. I'm waiting for that violence that they incited when they say, hey, let's go march and do this. That didn't happen. But so they don't incite their supporters to it because their supporters aren't loyal and dedicated enough. What does that mean?
What point is that making exactly?
Because now you're caught with, first off, let's obviously make the point that he's making, or finish that point that he's making, which was, hey, Donald Trump supporters wouldn't attack the Capitol because they're loyal and they'll do what their president tells them to do. These Democratic folks, their guys are just soft and just don't follow through. Sounds like they went off of his orders to go and attack the Capitol. They're caught with this mix of trying to make sure that they point out, because Trump needs this for his ego, my supporters are loyal, they'll do anything for me because that feeds him. But at the same time, they didn't do what I said because now illegality is gonna get me involved. Which one is it? Because number one rule for Donald Trump, promote Donald Trump, feed his ego, call him a messiah. That's all that matters. Everyone loves me, popularity. Then once the popularity turns into a criminal investigation, we're like, oh, well, those guys didn't really support me. They just supported me.
I know that was, it was a weird one. It was like, because what they were trying to say was, lots of politicians say things that could be characterized as inciting violence. The only thing about the Dems is they don't have dedicated followers. But like the outcome that is different that you're defining is that Trump's fans do it. At the very least, that is a serious indictment of Trump's fans, if not of Trump. But that's at the very least what it is. And then he says, no, it's not. You can't just say it's not tied to him over and over. That's not a great defense. But moving past that, he says, all he's doing is rousing them to drain the swamp. But again, this isn't just a case, which would be serious enough, which is Trump is saying things and we're worried that someday it's gonna go too far. No, the militia guys already tried to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. They did try to run that bus off the road, and they did storm the Capitol and kill people. So you're saying he's rousing them. That is the rousing. That's part of what it is. So I feel like, again, he doesn't really have to make a good argument because the jury is 100% biased, or at least I guess 50% biased in this case. But the case he's making is, Trump apparently should know that his followers are prone to violence, and when he rouses them regularly, they go and they attack people. But somehow, again, that's not on him.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to make sense. In fact, it's better if it doesn't. Because if it made sense, people would have to come to a conclusion. And the only conclusion when you logically think about this is, wait, they stormed the Capitol and the president incited them to do so. It's the only logical conclusion. That's all you got left. So you have to make no sense in order to deny that.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.